Charlie, it's yours.
My pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Vivek Prakash. Vivek, please tell us about your living histories.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your introduction. Okay, so I'm going to, first of all, thank you so much to Srividya and the team for really running this series. This is fantastic and very, very inspiring. So I'm going to tell you about my serendipitous path from engineering to geophysics to turbulence to biophysics. So it started in India. My journey started in India. I'm from India, from Bangalore. It turns out to be not only the Silicon Valley of India, but also the science capital of India. So it's kind of pretty convenient. So here is a photo of me when I was young. That's my mom and dad. Dad was a cardiac surgeon, retired recently. Mom was a lecturer in Kannada. That's the native language that we speak in Karnataka. That's another photo of me, and that's my sister on the right. The young kid is the sister. So I have always been crazy about cars, and even till today. So I'm really crazy about cars. I love cars. And I went through a phase with being crazy about cricket. This is what all Indian boys go through apparently. I did some stamp collecting, quizzing, lots of things, and naturally I wanted to be I followed Formula One racing, so I wanted to be a Formula One race car driver. Um, and then, growing up more towards high school, I started getting interested in astrophysics, SETI, like watching lots of Discovery Channel, search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And then these are the schools I went to all in Bangalore. But one thing is always I was good at science and math. And I realized, to be a cricketer or a race car driver, you have to be really fit, and that's not my thing. So then basically I chose an undergrad career where I would leverage my interests. So I was always crazy about cars, but also have the option to do physics because I was interested in doing science. So I joined a program in mechanical engineering. This is RV College of Engineering, one of the prominent colleges in Bangalore. Now, Mechie has a big focus on fluids and thermal sciences, so that's really what captured my interest. And these colleges do a wonderful job of training, giving technical education to students. And these are my colleagues. So I'm the guy in the yellow shirt. They're all doing really well. They're all in the industry all over the world. So that was the kind of environment I was in for my undergrad college. But this changed when I got an internship at Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research. So this is where my research career actually started. So I got this summer research fellowship at JNCSR. This is pretty competitive. It's usually in engineering sciences. Mostly IIT kids get it. And I was the exception, I think, one of the few exceptions. So yeah, I didn't go to IIT, but at least this worked out. Um, so I worked with Professor Srinivas and Arkeri in their labs, and I really liked the experience. So I kind of continued there for my MS in engineering mechanics, again, fluid dynamics. So this is what I worked on. Actually, again, it's fluid mechanics, but I built a tabletop setup to study flows in the Earth's mantle. So this was my project, and I'm really proud of it because I started building it from scratch, and I took it to a master thesis and even got it published. So this community of students at JNCSR was fantastic, like super competitive. Most of them are actually professors in India, in IIC, in IITs, some in the UK, some in the US too. So in really at JNC, I received initial training and exposure to fluid dynamics research. And the other thing I wanted to highlight was, senior students are actually very good mentors. So for the students in the audience, your mentors are not just your postdoc advisor, PhD advisor, but lots of senior students too. And I'll give you an example of that. After I finished my PhD, finished my master's, I always wanted to go to the US. That was my plan. That's a popular plan. But I ended up going to Europe. And the story is the following. So I was going to a conference in the middle of my master's program. This was the European Fluid Mechanics Conference in the UK. And my senior in the JNC community told me, hey, why are you so obsessed with America? Why don't you apply to, here are the top 5 people to apply in Europe? And I did. And they all replied. In fact, my future PhD advisor came to my talk at the UK conference. He called me outside and said, okay, I want to make you an offer right now. And I was like completely shocked, right? Then I told him, oh, by the way, I'm actually going to Max Planck Institute and interviewing for another position. So it somehow worked out really well. I had the visa to go, we need visas to go everywhere. So I visited their places, and then I really got multiple offers, had the difficulty of making a choice with good options. Finally, I had like 1 week or 2 weeks to decide, so I ended up going to University of Twente in the Netherlands. So anyway, so that was the story of why I went to Europe. I wasn't planning it. So here, yeah, this is a slide to show that Europe was fantastic. I had a great time. Now, the point of this slide is to show you that for students, really enjoy your golden years as a grad student postdoc, because that's the life that we would want to come back to. You just focus on your project and nothing else, and have a good time. So Europe is different. The PhD doesn't have coursework. It's 4 years. You get paid well, and you have lots of holidays. So, man, I took advantage of geography. Really traveled all over. Had a fantastic time. Also, met lots of fantastic colleagues who are lifelong friends, and many of them are again professors now in Europe and in the US. So in my PhD, again, I moved from engineering mechanics now to really applied physics, like a physics department PhD. And these are my advisors, Detlef Losa and Chao Sun. They're very well known in the APS DFD community. So my thesis was on bubbles in turbulence. So geophysics bubbles in turbulence. Now, from tabletop setup, I went to working in a large three-story high setup. This is the first floor. So you see bubbles are being injected. Now this is the second floor. So there you see me, and those are bubbles in turbulence rising up. And this is the third floor. So it's a closed circuit, 3-story tall water channel facility. It was a really amazing experience. What I did was develop lots of techniques to track a large collection of particles like bubbles, spheres in 3D, 2 dimensions. Kind of a traditional PhD, right? I answered questions on, what's the effect of density, gravity, clustering, etc. Pretty productive, I think. What I did learn was, really received rigorous training and skills in fluid dynamics. Now, I would say we are kind of spoiled that, everything was set up nicely. We had lots of funding, and they sent me to conferences all the time. So I attended these APS DFD annual meetings, and I saw this video of a jellyfish swimming, and I really got interested in fluid flows around animals. So I wanted to switch for my postdoc, have an adventure. So I ended up going to Stanford in California. Again, multiple offers. I had to decide. Kind of becomes very tricky at some time. But anyway, what I did was chose the most interesting project, and this was in the lab of Manu Prakash at Stanford. Again, just to clarify, Manu and I have the same surname. We are not related. It's just a common name. Now, Prakash lab at Manu's lab at Stanford is really the ultimate idea factory. Like, they work on very diverse problems in biophysics, soft matter, physical science. Manu is a genius, absolutely, and he's a superstar. But also, his other students are also superstars, like William, Matt. I work closely with them. They're really nice, but also super smart. So I had to overcome some amount of, imposter syndrome in the beginning and switching fields. But I really learned the idea how to approach problems with mindset of curiosity, discovery, learn intuition for biological systems, really get good exposure to all kinds of problems. And I really developed grit, which is very important going forward. I kind of got a chance to apply my graduate training to problems in tissue mechanics and fluid flows around animals. So I was really happy I got a chance to do that. And I also got a chance to go to summer courses. So this was one at Stanford and the embryology course at MBL. So I really fell in love with marine biology, developmental biology. And then after that, I got my job at the University of Miami. Started in just before the pandemic. Not a good time, but anyway, here we are. Look, things are looking fine now. Here also, I still study flows in animals. I study all kinds of animals. Now I'm working on corals. I never imagined I'd work on corals. And again, I work with my students. I learn from them. I work on other systems too, including chicken embryos. Now I'm having the liberal arts experience. I actually work with a glass artist to collaborate to make such tissues, glassy tissues. So it's been a wonderful experience. Um, Now here is like a photo of my photos of my lab members. It's been really wonderful. I learn a lot from my students, but also it's fantastic to see them, grow as a person, and also their science grow. Quick summary. I like to really talk about the success as an iceberg principle. Every success that everybody sees is usually only the outside, but you never know what people went through to get to that success, right? So there's a lot of failure, and it's really inevitable. But you guys have to, like students, you have to keep going, keep trying. I put a lot of summaries lessons here, but I don't have to go through all of them. I know it's being recorded, so you can see it. But some things I want to highlight is really be yourself. Your path is different for all students. When you have grit, you're really unstoppable. Luck will also follow when you have grit, I think. Embrace failure, really seek mentors. Um, not only a PhD postdoc advisors, but seek more mentors. It's very useful. Always pick the project and advisor over reputation of university. And finally, work really hard, but stay healthy. Like, don't get into burnout situations, things like that. So take breaks, but work really hard. And yeah, career in science is absolutely amazing. So anyway, thank you for having me. I'm happy to take questions now.
Great, thank you for a fantastic talk, Vivek, and I'm applauding on behalf of the audience. So we have a few questions. The first one is, have first question from the audience is, have you seen any different definitions of success between the different cultures that you have lived in?
Yeah. So this is a wonderful question. I'll think a little bit carefully, but absolutely yes, right? So I would say the European community, in not very generalizing broadly, but in my experience, right? They value productivity. They expect that a good PhD student would publish, 10 papers. That was common in my lab. But you come to the US and it's like, it's different. You're really focusing on a few good stories. So right or wrong is really dependent on your taste, I think. So definitions of success could be some people right now as a PI, want to get NIH money, want to get many millions of dollars in funding. That's their priority. I guess I'm more towards, I want to do beautiful projects, take my time, understand them properly, publish them slowly, nicely. I want to write less. Maybe it's not a good thing. I should be more productive pre-tenure. But anyway, so I think definitely yes, absolutely. Success definitions change all everywhere, and then we have to decide what we want, I think. And of course, do enough to get tenure. Of course, that much I should say. After tenure, I guess we can really be more idealistic.
Mhm. Okay, great. Yeah, we have one other question here. With the benefit of hindsight, how has your love for cricket informed your science decisions?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Cricket? What was the question?
Yeah, how has your love for cricket informed your science decisions, directions?
Um, I guess while I was thinking of cricket, at that age, I wasn't really thinking of fluid mechanics, but nowadays I do. I think of how you swing the ball and how people spin and how the ball reacts to bowlers and what strategies they use. Um, but yeah, I guess at that time it really didn't influence me. That's the honest answer. But I was obsessed with cricket for different reasons, I think. But yes, there's a lot. I use cricket a lot in my teaching right now. Like when I teach undergrads intro physics, yeah, trajectories and ball hits the bat. Here we have to talk about baseball more, I guess, but same thing, right? Ball hitting a bat. Yeah,
Mhm. Great, thank you.
sure.
Uh, and now I'll pass it back to Sri now.